In this tutorial, we're going to talk about adding contacts to your EM4C account and uploading contacts to a list. So first off, we're going to assume that you've already created a contact list to add these specific contacts to. If you're not sure about how to create a contact list, make sure you check out the tutorial on creating contact lists. Now I'm going to show you two ways that you can add contacts to a list that you've created. The first way is a way you'd want to use if you just want to add contacts maybe one at a time. Now I'm going to go ahead and select this Contacts tab. Then I'm going to scroll down to the third option down here is Add a Contact. If I go ahead and click that, I'm going to see a list of contact lists that I have created in my account. So I basically want to choose which list I want to add this contact to. So for this example, I'm going to be working in the past clients list. And you can see I have 0 contacts on there right now. So I'll select that list and I click Next. Now it's going to ask me for the actual details of the contact I'm adding to the list. The first one's going to be obviously the email address. So I can go ahead and type in the email address of my new contact. Now the second field here is email format. We have filled out for you HTML by default. We recommend you leave it that way. We also have the third field filled out for you by default, which is confirmed. We also recommend you leave confirmed filled out there. The only other option is unconfirmed, and if you enter a contact as unconfirmed, the system's not going to email to that person until you go in and actually mark them as confirmed. So you normally don't want to upload anybody or enter anybody as unconfirmed. So these two fields you basically want to leave filled out as default. Now if we scroll down here, you can see the custom fields that I've already created for this past clients contact list. You see I have address, city, first name, last name, phone number, state, and zip. If you're not familiar with custom fields or what they are or how to create them, make sure you check out the tutorial on creating custom fields. But I can go ahead in here and I can add any of this information that I need. Since I didn't make these fields mandatory, I don't have to have every single bit of information in here, so I'll just go ahead and enter in what I have for now, and I click Save and Exit. And now you can see Past Clients now has one active contact. Now if I go to my contact list, I select View Contact Lists, I can see Past Clients. And if I click on View Contacts, I'll be able to see test@halesgroup.com active. There's the phone number I put in. That's basically all the information I added. So now I've manually added a contact to this contact list. Now the other way to add contacts to your contact list is by importing them from a file. Now you normally want to use this method if you need to add more than just a handful of contacts. And the way you do this is you want to start out with a list of contacts already in a spreadsheet. I'm going to go here. We've got a test list that we've created. You can see I've created test_list.csv. And you're going to want to note that I've got my file saved as a .csv format. If you're not familiar with how to get a list into .csv format, make sure you check out that tutorial. And we walk you through how to get an Excel spreadsheet into .csv format. But for this example, you can see I'm going to be uploading the email, the first name, the last name, address, city, state, zip, and phone. I've only got 3 contacts on this list because it's a demo list, but you can have as many contacts on your list as you need. So I'm going to go back to my EM4C account. I'm going to go ahead and click this Contacts tab again, and I'm going to select the 4th option down, which is Import Contacts from a File. Now again, the system's going to ask me which list do I want to import these contacts to. So again, I'm going to work with the past clients list, so I select that list and I click Next. So now we come to a screen where the first section talks about import details. Now this first field is marked as confirmed. Again, you want to leave them as confirmed because the only other option is unconfirmed, and like I said before, the system won't email to somebody that's marked as unconfirmed. And also I'd like to point out these little question marks we have over here to the right of each field. If you hover over that, we've got a nice little brief description that tells you what that field is for and what type of information should be in there. So again, the format you want to leave as HTML. This will make sure that this contact or these contacts will receive emails from you in HTML format so they can see the nice pictures and colors and everything. The third field down here is override existing details. Now, if I had existing contacts on this list and I wanted to update information such as first name or maybe update their phone number, I could go ahead and click this box, and that way the system's going to overwrite the existing details with the new details I'm uploading with my file. But in this case, I only have that one contact I added manually, so I don't need to worry about that. Now the fourth field is the autoresponders field. Now if you're not sure what autoresponders are or how they work, make sure you check out our tutorial on autoresponders to get a little more detail about that. Now I don't have any autoresponders set up, and if you don't have any autoresponders set up, you don't need to worry about this either. You just leave that unchecked. Now let's go down to the file details. Now the first field asks us contains headers. Now I want to put a checkbox here because I'm letting the system know that the file I'm going to upload into there contains a header row. Now if I go back to my file, I'm going to point out, just to make sure you understand, this top row is the header row. So if the top row in your list that you're about to upload has the columns labeled like first name, last name, and email, then your list contains header rows. So you want to make sure that you have that box checked before you upload your list. Now the second field in the file details is what's called field separator, and you can see there's a comma in there already filled out for you by default. You're going to want to leave that a comma. Since you already have your list saved as .csv file, that's what needs to be there, a comma. So we have that filled out for you by default. Field enclosure, you're going to want to go ahead and leave blank. Don't worry about that. Now the next thing I want to make sure is I've got this button clicked here, which is upload a file from my computer. And now I can click on the browse button. I'm going to browse right to where I have my file saved. I'm going to select my test_list.csv file. And you can see that it enters the path to that file there. Now all I want to do is click next. Now on this screen you're going to see that we've got link import fields. The column down the left here contains the headers from the list I'm importing into the system. Now the column on the right are the custom fields that I want to associate the data in these columns to. So for example, email in my list should map to email address in my EM4C account. Now first name maps to first name because it just so happens that the header in my columns was the same name as the field that I created. Except when I get down here to zip, I have the zip code as labeled as zip in my file, but in my account I have the field created as zip code, so I just want to make sure I map that out. Same goes with phone. In the file it's only labeled as phone, but in my account I have the field created as phone number. So you just want to make sure that the fields on the left, which are the columns within your import list, match up to the fields that you've created in your account on the right. So once I got everything mapped correctly, I go ahead and click next, and it's going to give me the option to go ahead and start importing. So my final step is to click the start importing button. You'll see the system work. Now you can see that 3 contacts were successfully imported. It also checks for duplicates and also checks for bad data. And so it'll let you know if any of the fields contain bad data. For example, it checks the syntax of the email address. So if you had john.smith@aol.com, it would know that there's a syntax error there because you can't have 2 dots. So that's it. You can add as many contacts as you need to your list through the import contacts from a file, or you can select add a contact and add them manually one at a time. So thanks for watching the tutorial on adding contacts to a list.